Hello, Auburn Alliance Church family. Great to be with you today at our 5 to 5 this Friday. I have a special guest. I think you all know who my wife is. And we are not abiding by the social distancing, thank the Lord. But I'm glad for her to be able to be here and share with you about some really neat things that are happening with our church family.
Well, one of the things that I've realized is that Pastor Jim and Pastor Mark have done a great job at these 5 to 5s of letting us know what's happening, even though we are socially distanced. But there is so much happening that there were some aspects that I wanted to fill you in on today that you can actually be a part of. And that's why I had a desire to let you know about this ministry that our church is doing and what's happening outside of the four walls of our church. And so I got a text from Mickey about the time when everything was starting to close down, and Mickey asked if my girls would like a pattern to sew, knowing both of my kids sew. I got the idea to let our quilting group know because I said, we have a ton of material in the basement. So I reached out to Kathy Appleby here at Auburn Alliance and Phyllis Judge, and they were able to start making masks immediately. They came and got material, and it was moving very quickly. And this was to give to Auburn Hospital. Later, we got a call from Laura Klinger, who works at St. Joe's, saying that they were on their last box of masks. And then we were able to redirect the masks to go there. So I'd like you to see this video that Mickey made and also that Phyllis Judge made and get a glimpse of what is being done so that maybe you can be a part of it too.
Go. Great.
Hi, Auburn Alliance Church family. This year, our son Jake has been in a medical program taking place at the Auburn Community Hospital until they were shut down because of the COVID pandemic. His teacher reached out a couple of weeks ago saying that the Auburn Community Hospital no longer had a supply of face masks and they were in desperate need. Some of the workers were wearing bandanas to cover their faces while others of them didn't have any protection at all. We felt that our family could help with this need and decided to share this with other members within the church body. A group of 3 of us women within the church have been making masks for healthcare workers. Last Sunday, PJ talked about the fear many are feeling right now during the COVID-19 pandemic. We have no need for fear because of our confidence in Jesus. I know many of us are praying for those directly affected by the pandemic. We found that making these masks help us to feel like we are putting hands and feet on our prayers. So many times as needs arise, I am unable to do anything more than offer up prayers. But with this need, it struck me that I am gifted in this area and that I could help in this way. These masks help keep workers safe and help cast out the fear of contracting the virus. We were provided a pattern by Jake's teacher, and as we began making the first few masks, we were contacted by a representative from the Auburn Hospital who stated that they had been given other homemade masks, however they didn't have any metal in them that held it close to their noses, and asked us if we'd be able to design something that would do that for them, especially for those working in the emergency room. Kathy Appleby and I went to work redesigning the pattern that we had been given and came up with a couple of options of how we could provide them with a mask that had metal in it and also could be washed and bleached and wouldn't rust. We made a batch of approximately 75 masks and sent them on our front porch, where a representative from the hospital came and picked them up. Half an hour later, we were contacted with amazing feedback that the masks were beautifully made, and we were the only ones that had provided them with masks that had metal in them. They asked for our design so it could be shared with others around the community who were also sewing masks for them. A second batch of 50 masks went to Auburn Community Hospital 2 days later. Since that time, we've added Phyllis Judge as one of the seamstresses who is sewing masks each day, Janet and Larry Quinn, who are cutting out the fabric, and Jake, Troy, and Mallory, who are helping to make the masks. We have also combined efforts and supplies with another woman and her husband from Auburn who we've never met, as we do all this by porch drops. Our masks have made it not only to the Auburn Hospital, but also to the Finger Lakes Center for Living, the Auburn Nursing Home, physical therapy centers, housing facilities for those with special needs, the Cuyahoga County Testing Station on County House Road. The same representative also provided us with another pattern and has asked us to begin making masks for Upstate University Hospital. The latest need presented itself to us on Sunday. That was that need of Laura Klinger and her co-workers at St. Joseph's Hospital. They were on their last box of purchased masks, and Laura said that they had not had approval yet for homemade masks. We were able to put 95 masks together and drop them on her front porch to take in on her next shift. On arrival to her next shift, they received approval to wear homemade masks. I spoke with her and told her that it was the inspiration we needed to keep sewing. And she told me it was the inspiration that she and her co-workers needed to continue working at the hospital. We have another 100 masks headed to Laura's porch tonight for her to take to work on her next shift. If there's anybody that would like to help us and continue some of this work, has a desire, some of this material came from a string and a prayer. Some of you have donated some of this material and will recognize it. It's being used in a whole different way. As many of you watch the news, you'll see where car makers are making some hand sanitizer now, and some of the pillow factories are making masks. String and a prayer has changed what it's doing also, and is making the masks for the hospitals. If you'd like to help, give us a shout. Thank you.
So you can see from Phyllis Judge's video here the process of making the masks and how beautiful they are. In fact, Laura Klinger actually said that the nurses were ecstatic to receive these and said they were beautiful.
Isn't it neat to see what some of our people are doing and how they are practically engaging in ministry and providing a very tangible need? And so if you're interested in being involved in this, please contact Mickey Brown or for Kathy Appleby, or you can contact the church and we can get you connected to them. But if you sense the Lord's leading to be a part of that, we would invite you to help out in that capacity. It's great to be with you today. We're praying for you. We want you to know that we love you. You are important to us. Stay healthy and strong. And as you will probably see over the next week or so, we'll probably all be wearing masks out and about, but that's going to be just par for the course where things are. But you know what? God is with us. God is on the throne. He is all powerful, and we can trust him, and we can know that he's going to take care of us. So we love you, and have a great day.